So, how much money do I need to save for the 2026 FIFA World Cup? Well, there isn't a magic number, but let's talk about what you should be considering as we get closer and closer to this event. Dímelo, mi gente, Chavo football fan here. I'm helping fans save money and travel the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Before we get into the topic in hand, please let's do some housekeeping in order. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, click on the bell button. That way you're notified of when I publish the next videos. I know it is not a consistent day that I post videos out. It really does depend on, whether I have time at home to take care of creating a video for y'all, but also does depend on the types of topics that I do want to talk about in greater detail here on this channel. Please make sure that you're following me on either Instagram or TikTok. Ideally, TikTok, since that one is what's paying right now. Make sure you subscribe to my newsletter on my website, travelfootballfan.com. And you can also sign up for a consultation with me so that we can create a customized money and travel plan just for you, which, hey, funny enough, we're going to be talking about how much you really need to save for this World Cup coming up, just depending on your overall World Cup strategy. All right, so how much money do you need to save is totally dependent on your World Cup plans. There is no magic number that I could give to all of you to say, hey, this is how much you need to save. Here's why. Because let's just assume, again, I am putting this in as an example. I tell you guys, save $500 per person per each game. What if the tickets are $500? Probably not, but they could be. I don't know. They haven't released the prices yet. What if you're traveling? $500 ain't gonna cover it. You're gonna need maybe double that amount per game, depending on where you're traveling. Also depends on what type of ticket you want. Also depends on your travel style. Do you need to fly first class, or do you're gonna go on Frontier Airlines? There's so many factors involved here that is why I cannot give you an exact number to save for this tournament. Okay, so go ahead and take out a piece of pen and paper or save this video and share it with your friends and family. And let's write down the things that we need to save money for and kind of give some estimates. Again, and this is all going to be based on every single one of us have a different style, right? Okay, let's get to it. So, number one, the tickets, right? We don't know the prices for these tickets, okay? And what you need to ask yourself is, am I good being in a gallinero up here in the nosebleeds, or do I want to be in the halfway line category 1 tickets? Or do I want hospitality? You got to ask yourself that question and make the expected adjustments there. The tickets might be starting at around $300, $400, but that's purely speculative. I wish I could give you more information here. But if you say that just the tickets alone is going to be $500, that might be a good guess, especially for the group stage, right? Knockout rounds, those tickets are going to be worth a lot more. Start there, right? And always approach this as I am saving probably more than I need, but it's probably better to do that than save less than what you think you need, or else you're going to be always in the deficit. So for tickets, let's just predict $500. Now, next is travel. Now, of course, for all of you, you're going to have a different plan, okay? If you're not looking to travel outside of your home city or of the host city that you live closest to, well, good. You're going to save money on not having to buy airfare, on hotels, car rental, okay? You save a lot of money there, but you're going to need some money for that Uber. And depending on how far you live, and remember that there's going to be that surge pricing, you might spend $100 on an Uber. Who knows? There might be public transportation options for you, but again, that depends on each city. In Miami, no hay ni hasta bus que llega allá al Hard Rock City. Maybe one, actually. That's it. If you're in New York, New Jersey, yeah, you're going to be able to get to East Rutherford rather easily because they are building a transit way bus line to connect Newark Penn Station to MetLife. So depending on the city, you're going to be spending a different amount for your travel. So you need to take that into account. Another thing about the travel, once you know where your team is going to play, if you're waiting to find out, pretty much where your team is going to play, make sure you book all your travel within 48 hours of the draw. That's going to happen in December. We don't have a specific date just yet, okay? You do not want to wait later or rather closer and closer that we get to the World Cup, because either A, the demand from the international travelers coming here is going to scoop up all those flights, all those hotel rooms, all those car rentals, jacking up the price, or B, even if they don't come, the domestic demand might also be very high, probably will be very high, and thus again the same thing. You're either not going to have a hotel room to book, or that hotel room is going to be much more expensive the closer we get to the tournament. So again, I can't give you a number. It's going to be a big old question mark for travel. It all depends on whether A, you're traveling outside of your city, B, how are you going to get to the stadium? And remember, there might not be parking available at the stadium per FIFA security perimeters. So there's going to have to be a different way for you to get close enough to the stadium. And then C, again, how do you travel? So this is now then for those of you that will be flying, will be booking those hotel rooms. Are you going to be flying with Frontier Airlines and staying at the Motel 6? Don't stay at the Motel 6, fam. Come on, let's upgrade. Let's upgrade that travel, fam. All right? I'm not saying you have to fly first class all the time. I'm not saying you have to stay at the Ritz-Carlton all the time. But, let's celebrate that travel status, all right? Let's get you into some nicer rooms. Let's get you into some nicer seats. If that's what you want to do, you might want to start thinking about your travel strategy this year in 2025, so that way you have elite statuses for 2026 that you can use and leverage to upgrade your travel during the World Cup. So you got to think about all those things in your expenditures. So again, for travel, it's going to be a big old question mark. Okay, so we got the tickets out the way. We got the travel out the way. We said that the tickets, the magic number, might indeed be $500. But again, it depends on the type of category of tickets that you want. Depends on how many tickets you're looking to purchase. Of course, if you're going with friends and family. And also depends if you want to do hospitality. That's going to be, of course, much more expensive. In regards to travel, it really is a big variable. There is no number I can give you because you might be living in Seattle and you want to stay in Seattle for those games, or you might be living in Wichita, Kansas, and need to travel to all of the other stadiums. So again, that is a very much a variable number. Now, at the stadium, there are also some expenses you might incur. It's going to be bloody hot during the World Cup. It's the summer, especialmente si vas a estar en Miami or in Houston, well, maybe not Houston because that is a dome stadium, but in the open air stadium. So let's go with Arrowhead, okay? You're going to need some agüita, okay? You're going to need to buy some bottles of water. I really recommend water over beer, just so in that way you're not super dehydrated. You're going to need to buy some water. And in a lot of these stadiums, the concessions is a little bit pricey, all right? You might get hungry during the game, especially if it's in the knockout rounds, especially if you're all nervous and everything, whether your team's going to get knocked out. You're going to need some food, right? You might want to buy some souvenirs too. Why wouldn't you want to buy a souvenir? I know that I don't think I have it here, but I bought a couple of pins from my experience at the Qatar World Cup. I wish they had scarves of the game, but I know that's not really feasible. I did buy a nice, very cool jersey that says Adidas in Arabic. It's like almost like a lime green, not a lime green, but like a teal green color jersey. Very, very nice jersey. I love wearing it because it's cool, man. It just says Adidas across the chest in Arabic. So very dope jersey. I easily spent, in my experience at Qatar, I think I spent, how much did that jersey cost? Like probably $100. I think I spent like $150 in souvenirs. So that is an expense that you can save for. Maybe put $100 or $200 towards souvenirs. Okay, again, it doesn't mean that you're going to spend that money on souvenirs, but just have it there on the side. And of course, the food, yeah, you might probably want to put another $100 or $200 per person. Again, it depending on the stadium, right? I know that, for example, Mercedes-Benz in Atlanta, that stadium usually has consumer-friendly prices on their concession stands. Hopefully, that continues for 2026. So you might be saving a good amount of money there in Atlanta, but in some of these other stadiums, it might get pricey. Okay, and so again, save about $100, $200 for concessions. Save another $100, $200 for food, and that already is kind of putting you in about the $1,000 range per person per game. Okay, and then let's talk about some other general questions that might pop up as you're thinking about saving money for this World Cup. Are you going to be working during the summer 2026, meaning that yes, you're just gonna take PTO, then maybe you don't really have to worry about having to save extra money for like things like the rent, your mortgage, or taking covering the bills and stuff like that, because you're gonna have that money anyway coming in. You're not spending the money that you're earning at that time. You're able to pay off your bills on time and everything. You're not gonna get into any sort of debt. However, if you're looking to quit your job, not be employed during that period of time, then you do need to save extra money to cover your bills and its housing and all that, unless you're planning to live off, off the grid, or like not with a home for that 6 week period, and just kind of roam around the world in in that situation. Which, of course, if that's what you want to do, if that's your aspiration, by all means do it. But you need to financially plan for that, right? When it comes to things like if you're not paying a rent, then hey, are you paying hotels, right? You're paying gas, which is actually something I didn't even mention in the previous categories here. But gas, if you're going on an RV type of journey around these three countries, you're going to have to cover those expenses. So you need to ask yourself, are you working or not? Are you needing to save extra money to cover things like rent and the bills, or are you going to be living a more of a nomadic lifestyle for those 6 weeks? Do you have all your travel paperwork in hand? Okay. So I'm talking about passports. I'm talking about any identification that you're going to need, especially in these times in the United States, that we just do not know how these authorities are going to be treating people of color. We need to be ready to basically be able to identify and prove our citizenship, especially if you're American, but eres Latino, eres Afroamericano, from wherever you're at from, you need to be able to prove your citizenship. So please make sure that you're saving money. Another bucket of that is for travel documents. So updating your passport as soon as possible, driver's license, any and all IDs that you can get. So in that way, you are good to go. Okay. Also, just have a general emergency savings fund. Okay. Maybe you get hurt during the World Cup. God forbid you get into an accident, or maybe you get really sick, or something happens. You want to avoid that situation from becoming a financial burden on you. So saving a certain amount of dollars for healthcare and for any other emergencies that could happen, like for example getting robbed, right? Like no one wants to think about getting mugged, but maybe you put yourself in a bad situation, or maybe you didn't, and you just were a victim of a situation like that. Well, what do you know? You pretty much have an extra savings there to cover your expenses, to at least get you back home, right? And then you figure it out from there. Or if you lose your credit card, do you have some extra money on you, right? Traveling with credit cards is good, pero también you gotta have some cash on you just to avoid any issues, in case, again, if you lose your credit card gets locked out, boom, you have some cash in hand in order to be able to get out of that specific situation. And look, just anything unexpected in life can happen. Okay. Plenty of things can happen. All right. So you want to have a little bit of extra money there. Again, I can't necessarily tell you how much to have, because it just depends on the person. But basically, the rule is this: the more money you save, the better it's going to be for you, because then you're able to enjoy these games, the entire tournament that you want to travel to, with a peace of mind of not having to worry about if this is too expensive. I want you to be able to enjoy it. I want you to be able to just be able to say, I could swipe this card, not even think about it, because I got the money saved and I could pay off the bill at the end of the month. That is the level of financial independence that I want for you. So in that way, you can have financial freedom to just enjoy the World Cup as you want, again, without having to worry about whether you could even afford it in the first place, because you did all of the legwork starting now to have that money in place. So in that way, you could just enjoy the games. All right, mi gente. So let's end the video here. We basically left it at $1,000 ish, $1,000 plus that you need to save per person per game. $1,000 coming from the tickets, from any souvenirs you purchase at the stadium, and stadium food, plus transportation to the stadium from either your home or hotel. Okay. And that's pretty much it. Okay. It's not covering, if you're traveling to other cities, the flights. It's not covering hotels. If you're looking to road trip, it's not covering car rental. All of those things are extra, and of course, it's not covering any additional money that you need to save in case you're not working during the World Cup, or you want to just have an extra emergency savings fund in case you get sick, you need to go to the hospital, any other emergencies that might happen during your travels. So it's about $1,000 plus, but really you shouldn't even be, just dump money. Just literally grab that piggy bank and just dump it into the high yield savings account and build. Just throw the money, as much money as you can, into that bucket. Okay. If you want a recommendation in terms of high yield savings accounts, you can always check out nerdwallet.com, bankrate.com, investopedia.com. I also have a referral link if you want to support my work for Ally Bank. You can go ahead and check it out on my website, travelfootballfan.com, under referrals. You can go ahead and click on that link for the Ally Bank referral. I believe you get an extra $250 if you make a qualifying deposit. You got to follow the terms and conditions, and then I would give $50 in return as for you using my referral link. So if you wish to support my work in that way, that would be really appreciated. And of course, you get a nice bonus there in return. But again, do your due diligence, shop around those websites, compare those different high yield savings accounts, and just pick the one that's best for you. Of course, again, I offer my consultations for money and travel through my website as well. Maybe you're going to wait until later on, closer to tournament, but I'll just let you know that I do offer those services for you. And again, just continue to subscribe to my channel here. Make sure you click on the bell button so that way you're notified of when I make the next video. And share this with all your friends and family. Ain't no point in gatekeeping this information. Everyone's going to end up knowing that tickets are going to go on sale in around September. So you might as well have all the financial information in hand. That way you're ready to roll once the tickets start dropping, right? And then once we're able to book our travel in December, right after that draw, you're going to be able to just have all your pieces in play, ready to go, your credit cards ready to go, your money in the high yield savings account ready to go to make the necessary purchases. Y pa'lante, ahí vamos al mundial. Okay. So thank you again so much for your support. I really appreciate it. This is Travel Football Fan. Ahí nos vemos en la próxima.